Hey guys, TNG Nubian Princess here, and I'm coming to you with the topic of friendships, lifetime, seasonal, whatever, all that. So, I've been just like thinking on this particular topic for a while in regards to the ideology that, friendships are supposed to like last forever, be over a lifetime, and yada, yada, yada. Now, let me just say, though, that it's possible to have those type of friendships, absolutely. And then there are friendships that are not meant to last forever. Maybe they're just meant to last a year or two, 5, 10, 15, and maybe that is the course of it. And the reason I say that is because we as individuals are forever changing. We are inconsistent and ever growing. And with that, the times in our lives when we meet people and become friends with them is because we shared something in common. There was a commonality there of, we're similar, or we're going through the same thing. There was a commonality there that brought us together. And when that commonality is no longer there, then what? And I'll use myself, for instance, where, you've maybe known somebody like a really long time, say 5 to 10 years, and you've met at a younger point in your life where either you were in school with them or, you met through something else. But as time goes on, we grow up. Things in our life change, work changes, career paths change. Maybe this person now has a kid. Maybe this person's now married. Maybe they're married with kids. Maybe they're divorced. There's a lot of things, right? Because life can throw anything at us. Now, with each one of those changes, that does change the dynamic of the friendship. Me personally speaking, of not having any kids and watching those closest to me have kids of their own, that friendship dynamic changes from maybe I could call you all the time, maybe you're readily, before we could just spur of the moment do things, to even just the basic conversational style. Because honestly, when people have kids, I will say mostly females, because between the males that I know and the females that I know that have kids, it's usually the females. Everything is about the kid. Their whole conversation will revolve around their kid. Kids are beautiful, they're a blessing. I get that, right? But then you will start to realize they lose themselves in their kid. Their kid just becomes everything to them, and they almost lose their identity to being just a mom. And the person that you once knew before is almost a shadow of themselves. They are only consumed with everything their kid related. And again, nothing is wrong with this. I'm just saying this in regards to how the dynamics of just a basic conversation will change, where before the conversation might have just been about food or what the dynamic of the day might look like, or someone else, whatever. But now their whole conversational mind topic has only become their kid. And maybe that's okay for a group, if the other person has a kid, and then they both can talk about their kids, and that's really great. And, that's a commonality, and they can go on that for hours. But when one person doesn't have a kid and one person does, and the person who does have a kid, now whole life revolves around that particular child or children, that's all they seem to talk about, because that's now their whole world. And now, though you may love that kid is not your whole world. And you have other things going on in your world. And now it seems like those things are insignificant to that person because it has nothing to do with their kid. Or they feel like their life now holds more importance because now they're a mom, a parent. So things that you're going through are almost looked down upon because it's just like, oh, like you have no idea like what I'm going through, and the kid is, you get what I'm saying? So their ideology changes while yours remain the same from where you guys left off. So now that becomes, okay, how do we maneuver into a place where there's a commonality, we regain a commonality, right? And that's hard. And, I've heard not even just some of my friends, but, even family who've had kids lose friendships because they're like, oh, once I got pregnant or once I had a kid, that person started acting different. And, I can see how that happens. But the person who's having the kid also has to realize you've changed. You're not the same person. Your conversational methods are not the same. Your interests are no longer the same. Everything for you is now your kid. All your conversational pieces are your kid. When you go to do stuff is only about your kid. And before, that wasn't what your conversational pieces were. That's not what your interests were with this person that you called a friend. You guys had so much other things to talk about and discuss. But now you've changed and only focused on this one portion of your life. Therefore, it almost creates like a divide because now you don't really see anything outside of your kid, or talking about your kid, or being like super obsessed with your kid and all of that stuff. And like I said, nothing's wrong with that. But just know you then create this divide between you and them. And it's hard for someone to relate to what you're going through if they've never experienced it. At what point do you go, okay, yes, I've stepped into this role. Now, how do I maintain this friendship outside of being a mom or being a dad? Can I hold a conversation that doesn't revolve around my kid? Or not? You know what I'm saying? So do take note that when things change, it's not just the other person, And I try, as being the one that doesn't have one, never to be that friend where they feel like they've lost me or I've changed because they've had a kid. I try to remain consistent. Even more so, I extend myself even further so they don't feel that way. Because honestly, they change. The conversations hardly become about you and them or you. It really just becomes about the kid or their kids and their day with the kid. And you're just trying to be like empathetic to them because maybe they're always tired or, they don't find time for themselves. So you try to be supportive. But then in that same token, because all they're concerned about is that portion of their life and that role that they've stepped into, they no longer realize that they're not being there for you. They're not, adhering to you as much because that's all they see. They're only seeing what's in their bubble. And like I said, it happens. And this happens even when somebody gets in a relationship with somebody. It's no different where they develop this new attachment to someone and you may hear from them less, you may see them less, or when you do have a conversational piece, that conversational piece only revolves around them and the person that they're with and has little or less to do or nothing to do with you and y'all, so do take note because this can hold true for you. You could be that person or you could be the person on the receiving end. But I realized that one of the best ways to really like deal with this is to probably just be up and upfront and honest. Or the route that I go is that I'm like, it's a part of life. I can't force someone to realize that they also are causing the destruction of our friendship because they don't want to see outside of what's going on with them. So, because only what's going on in their bubble, because you're no longer in their bubble. When I say, when somebody has a kid or they get into a relationship, you get pushed out of their bubble really quickly. Because it happens. I don't know why. It just happens. So, and they don't see that they did or they're doing it, because to them it's just like, oh no, that's not what I'm doing, or no, that's not what's happening. But it essentially, it kind of is. You know, we've all done that. I mean, I did that in high school. I got with my high school sweetheart, and then I forgot about my best friend at the time, one of my best friends at the time, and she found new friends because I wasn't that great of a friend to her, because I became immersed in someone else. And that was my fault. And to this day, I still regret the fact that I did not find a way to balance that friendship, because she was a great girl. You know, I still am in contact with her, you know, via regular social media where I like stuff, whatever, but we don't have that friendship. And that's my fault. That honestly is my fault. And I take responsibility, because I became just blinded by wanting to be with this person and making my whole life about this person, that I neglected my friend. I all the way neglected my friend. And I'm so sorry to her if she ever watches this. And I take full responsibility of that, because I was dumb and I should have been a better friend to you. And I should not have done that. So I'm sorry for any hurt that I caused you in that process, because you were definitely a really great friend to me, and I wasn't to you. Once I did that, I wasn't to you. And I apologize wholeheartedly. But yeah. So do take note, when you're friends with somebody before all these events in your life happen, and then they happen, you know, if they're your friend, they're happy for you. And I'm always happy, you know, for my friends, whatever next steps that happen in their lives. But I think everybody needs to take responsibility for when they fall short. Doesn't mean because something changes in your life that the entire world is going to stop and bend to what's going on with you. That's not how the world works, you know? So do remember the people that were there before, because they still want to be there. So just make sure you're not pushing them away or forgetting them, because now you're in a new position or in a new role in your career or in your life or in your family. Just remember that, because I promise you, when that person that you're so very obsessed with hurts you, dogs you, breaks your heart, you get in an argument, whatever, or those days where you really get stressed out with this kid and you want somebody to turn to and talk when things are no longer as perfect in your little world, you're looking for that friend, the same friend that you have not been engaging with, the same friend that you've been putting on the back burner because everything for you is going great. So it's almost like, whatever, if they don't want to talk to me or what. But if they're your real friend, you should be definitely making time for them, to be there for them. And when I say making time, you and them have a day together, or your conversation with them, they have your full attention. There is something so sacred in having a conversation with someone and knowing you have their full attention, that they are not distracted. Because you know what, just like a kid, if you ever remember growing up and you bring something, or just even to your significant anybody, and you're like, it's something that's important to you and you're talking about it. Now imagine that you're talking and there's a constant interruption on the other end because that person didn't even bother to give you the respect to be like, hey, this is going to be my time with this person, even if it's like 10 minutes, where it's just uninterrupted, me and you. Like I said, it ain't got to be all the time, but do you make that time? Do you make that time when there's no one else around that you two can reconnect and have that? Because I'm sure you do that with the person you're dating, or, you know, your husband or wife, or you have your special alone time with your kids. Do you really do that with your friends? When was the last time you can say, I've had an uninterrupted conversation or day or time with this person that I call a friend? Because that's a relationship too. And I would think it's just as important. I'm not saying it's more important. I'm just saying it is important. Well, I would hope it's important to you that you do that. Because, you know, when you're going through something, you want somebody's full attention. You want them to be invested in you. And there's nothing wrong with that. So do know when things change in your life and things happen, please take note and take responsibility for how it changes, for how you change towards your friends and your family, and know how they change towards you. But just don't put it on them, because it ain't just them. Trust and believe. It's not just them. When something changes in your life, you tend to just be about that. And so, and this is, like I said, how friendships can be lost and how they wither away and how they can go poof. But like I said, if somebody really means something to you, make that time and make that space for them. If you're not going to do that and you think they just need to be all about you, then you're really not a good friend. Because your life is not the only life that matters. If these are people you care about, then the functionality of their life and how they are matters to you. Like I said, it ain't gotta be an everyday thing, but don't have them be subpar because you feel like you better, or your situation is this better over them. If you always thinking you over them, you don't know what it is to be a friend. I'm just saying. Anyway, this video was entirely too long as is, so I just want to touch bases with that. So I'm out. I'm probably gonna make one more video. I'm not sure yet, but we shall see. We shall see. Love you guys. Sorry guys. Nothing but positive energy and vibes. All right. Love ya.